We saw him pick up Jax, Fiora, constantly finding ways to bring his team to victory. But we do have to remember that he was part of the problem during the finals. He was one of the reasons on his Jax getting caught out in the late game multiple times. That didn't quite work out for them. So we'll have to see if Shine, has learned a little bit coming in from the spring split. And if, he's tidied up his late game play, because his early split pushing looks great, but it's just those simple mistakes in the late game that have cost Axe so many times in the past.
Yeah, because there was that famed, that red buff almost encounter that ended up almost completely costing what it looked like to be Empire's lead during that playoff series, where they had a chance, actually, of making their way to MSI. But we're going to go ahead and start things off here in our draft. Karma and Kiana getting banned out here by Axis. Meanwhile, on the side of Insurgent, we're going to have Kali banned out.
And it was Shiro. Shiro was the top laner that started last split in the spring split for Axis, and he was saying that there are champions we need to look out for today, which are going to be Irelia, Renekton, Fiora, Jax, Camille, Hecarim, Vlad, GP, Kennen,
just gave me the whole champion list.
All right, nice. That's good to know that Shine just has a champion pool of an ocean, but we'll have to see what he does play.
Azir going to be banned out here by Insurgent. On the side here of Axis, final ban going to be the Olaf, and in response, that Vladimir actually taken away from the Shine.
I mean, Karma as well as Kiana are just very strong meta picks at the moment. Akali has a lot more damage added to her kit as well, so I think teams are just still not comfortable playing against her. I'll reference Yamato Cannon's tweet again about Olaf just for this week. He feels like Olaf is the new trap pick in the top lane, where a lot of teams are getting good success with the champion in scrims and thus making sure that they ban it away or first pick it if they have to. So it seems like it's been a constant blue side ban. Teams just don't want to first pick it and don't want to give it away to the other team. But as Yamato was saying, feels like it's a trap pick. It's actually not that strong. Just teams are having so much success with it and they don't know how to deal with it. Similar to how he felt about Jace when it was very popular in the top lane in the LEC.
Well, first pickup coming in for Axis is going to be that Sejuani, so putting priority there onto that tank jungle as well as the engage that comes out from the ultimate. In response here, though, for Insurgent, going to take away the Silas there that Shine was able to shine on.
Yeah, crazy that Axis are able to pick up a 4-cost piece right at the start of the draft phase here. Sejuani being locked in, still a very stable jungler, very good tanky jungler, has some great dueling potential even in the early game due to how much crowd control and burst damage that she has been consistently nerfed over time, but still so strong that it's going to be picked up. Silas, we saw a bit of yesterday in the jungle, was being played very well, and Ashe has been coming back into the meta with a new build of Essence Reaver as well as Trinity Force.
We're going to see Lovers Duo down the bot lane here for Axis, though, in response as they lock in the Rakan and the Xayah. Meanwhile here, though, for Insurgent, actually picking up the Corki that has resurfaced here during 9.13 and 9.14.
And bless TSM Jat for bringing us back the Azir Corki meta, which not going to happen today with Azir being banned out by Insurgent. They are going to be able to pick up that one-sided Corki, and we'll have to see what Axis decide to throw into the mid lane to go up against the man with his Ace Machine.
Well, some top lane bans coming out here from Insurgent as we start things off here for our second round. Fiora and Renekton being banned out, and
Target top.
Axis going to do the same, though, down toward the bot lane, getting rid of that Braum and the Morgana.
I like this because Insurgent can now go, you know what, let's pick our support, and we'll leave our last pick to throw towards Polar in the top lane, so he has the counter matchup against Shine. Because we know Shine, he's going to go towards some sort of split pushing threat. He's going to go to some sort of carry top lane pick. And that way you're taking away more of his champion pool, denying him some of his strong picks like Renekton, who just got a nice buff, and Fiora, who Shine has shown promise with in the past, and saying, here, comfort champion for you, Polar, take Shine down to the top lane. That's a crucial piece of Axis we need to tear apart.
Well, here we go. It's going to be Victor getting locked in for that mid lane for a little additional wave clear to keep the game going. But Aatrox going to be locked in here for the side of Axis. And now the hover, though, from Insurgent. Do you actually do it? Ooh, we got Riven coming out.
We've got Riven going up against Evil Riven in the top lane. Polar's going to be taking on Shine's Aatrox. And we know what Shine can do with the pick. Yes, Aatrox has been tapped with nerfs, especially with the removal of his revive after he gets a kill. So that crucial part of his kit, one of his identities has been taken away here. I do want to touch on Kuriano's Victor. We saw his Victor during the LST Spring Split. He's very clutch with how he uses his gravity field, especially in high-octane engages and high-octane plays. He's able to drop it down at the right moment in order to get the stun and get a good disengage off. And what would be a control mage mid lane meta without Victor cropping up from time to time? Very comfortable pick coming out from Carino. It feels like Axis have gone for very comfortable picks and big team fighting picks on the bottom side of their map, with Sejuani jumping in there as well, and Shine being Shine, going for that split push threat.
Well, we'll have to see here. Insurgent, so Insurgent, it does appear you got a lot of picks available, but we'll go ahead and load on the Rift for game 1. Calming night here on the Rift to start things off on Sunday. I almost lost my cool completely there watching the Corki just walk down the mid lane. I still love that skin.
Why does it fly?
Well, it flies, but it still moves its feet. That's the thing that, like, it's not like a hovering Corki. It's still
like when you
waddle.
It's like
waddles.
when you hold a puppy over water, it still pretends to swim.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Corki's doing.
Line of scrimmage, though, set up across the river here. No one really going for an invade. We might see a late one. Not even a a ward game put down there.
We saw one yesterday. In the very first match of the C Tour, we had Trundle against Sejuani in the jungle.
I did see that, yeah.
And it was a very early Trundle invade. I am going to fault the Sejuani for not scouting out that the invade was coming. It's very simple to do. Leeches towards your brush. Very simple things that you have to do as a jungler. You learned very early on. Didn't do it. I got killed for first blood, got red buff taken away, and had to blow flash. So 3 really bad starts coming out from Sejuani. Don't see any of that coming to this game. Very passive start. We're going to get Silas starting on his red buff. We will get Sejuani starting on red buff as well, but there was a fake leash.
Okay.
So we had Aatrox going into lane, taking some damage from that blue buff. But they might be a little bit confused as to what side of the map Sejuani has actually started on.
We'll see here. We'll see whether or not Blaze and Chili actually decide to allow this bot lane to possibly push in a little bit to almost make it look like there's a bit of a fake there, maybe a bit of deception, and then try and make an appearance up toward that top lane, as they will be on opposite sides of the map. But it is a full clear for Hopeless, so depending on how fast Caspiel goes for this, we'll have to see here, as level 2 already hit their bipolar.
And this is the matchup I really want to look into, and I've been joking non-stop that it is Evil Riven against Riven, because Aatrox is pretty much Evil Riven.
It's whoever has the sicker third Q backflip.
Pretty much. I mean, both of them have 3 Qs, both have a dash on their E. They both have some sort of crowd control on their W and an attack damage steroid on their ultimate. Pretty much the same champion, right? So far, things are going in favor of Shine. You'd expect this in the early game. Aatrox's early game presence, although, as we mentioned, is very similar to Riven. He just has much better burst damage and better sustain to start. But once Riven is able to get a couple of points into all of her abilities, so level 3, he's able to use that shield, which Aatrox doesn't have, and gets towards level 6, that matchup should start to equalize. And now that Aatrox can't revive, so at first, he used to be able to revive no matter what, as long as his blood well was full. Then they made it so you had to kill or assist on a champion before you could revive. Now there's none. So Riven can use her execute on her ultimate to take down Aatrox in these big one-on-one fights in the top lane, swinging the advantage to her when she hits level 6.
And on top of that, too, you kind of lose that initial threat that Aatrox had, that if you're low underneath your tower, you're not going to always have to deal with that tower dive that's going to follow through and always guarantee a kill.
But you can see every single time Shine's passive is up. If Polar comes in for a trade, he's got the additional attack range, pokes him with a stick, get some hit points back. And thus he's going to be able to sustain through that early game nice and easy. It's only really going to swing back in Riven's favor towards level 6. Polar just needs to keep doing what he's doing now. Push the wave in against Aatrox. Make it so that if he does choose to fight, he has to fight both Riven as well as the minions, giving Polar an advantage. Let the wave bounce and reset a couple of times, and then you'll be able to farm to level 6 underneath the safety of your turret, get that first back in, and then realistically you can start to take the trades to Shine.
Well, we saw Blaze and Chili letting this push back in toward their tower. Caspiel was nearby, but they did spot out the fact that the side of Insurgent's bot lane did go up for a tri-brush ward. So they're going to probably call off that play. Caspiel just going to go ahead and try and farm something in the jungle. Nothing really left. Has to try and make something.
It's just been... Jungles are both cleared on both sides. So you can already see Silas going back towards the top side because he did clear Krugs first. We get some there. Polar made a slight mistake. wasn't able to get that wave to bounce. Shine doing a very good job of holding it off the turret every time Polar tried to push forward, was able to get a good trade against him. So he's been forced back to base, and now he's in a really bad position on his side of the map. Shine, at full hit points with a single pot, although an item behind, can trade against Polar, take some of his hit points away, maybe force him to use that potion, and then use his own teleport to get back into this lane. So Shine has done a very good job of controlling top side of the map. We were checking with mid lane. It is a control mage matchup in that mid lane between Corki as well as Victor. Both of them are just farming. Victor will eventually run out of mana due to only having that Doran's ring.
Yeah, AC, quick trades here from Polar. Shine does try and answer back. Hopeless is going for a possible gank
they
here.
Can fight this, not with those minions there, and Shine doing what he should do, which is just disengage.
And with that ward down even into the river, if Caspiel was nearby, unfortunately, Axis themselves couldn't even go for a play. But I do like this from Caspiel. Does try and go for a bit of an invade, try and siphon some of the gold immediately from Hopeless, but is on top of a ward here. So Belby might come on over to try and steal some, but a little too late.
Gets none. Caspiel doing a very good job identifying that Shine was able to spot out Hopeless topside of jungle. Like you mentioned, just simply taking away a little bit of extra gold. With the game in this current state, which is every single lane is passively farming, realistically, Axis have 2 winning lanes. Top lane and bottom lane are being pushed in quite nicely for them. We saw that Shine can take it to Polar. We've seen the bottom lane. The Lovers duo has been able to push back both Ashe as well as Alistar. So it's only really mid lane, which is pushing in favor of Belby. But it is a controlled mage matchup, so nothing's really happening there. So Caspiel needs to take every inch he can get, and whenever you see Sylas on the map, you should be trying to take some of his jungle away to take even more of those inches and get a small lead for yourself. And through that, Axis have climbed about 400 gold. Doesn't mean anything at this point, but when the game is in such a stalemate, you need to find these opportunities.
Yeah, that was actually some decent prediction actually coming out there from Blaze and Chili. They actually had no real knowledge of where Hopeless was on the map and kind of figured, hey, you know what? We've been pushing for a bit of it a long time, and they just hit that point where they can go ahead and pick up that BF sword. No point to keep on pressuring if we don't need to.
I think the first big engage we're going to see is because these lanes are so difficult to gank.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, what lane is Caspiel or Hopeless going to go to? I mean, top lane's the most volatile, but that doesn't make it any easier for these two to go up towards those lanes. Bottom lane have 2 big supports that can disengage very well. Chili and Blaze can play very safely. Martin has tons of crowd control. And then it's control mages at the mid lane. What lane can they realistically go towards? So I think the first big objective we're going to see these guys fight over is when everybody ticks over to level 6. Martin has his arrow online. Blaze has his ultimate ready. Chili's got that ultimate ready as well. We should see them start to get wards over by the Infernal Dragon and try and see if they can make a play there. This is going to favor Axis if they're able to set up that play in the next 3 minutes, because teleport's available for Shine. Polar does not have his own teleport at this point in time.
Well, you can also see there's a decent amount of gold actually starting to spike over here towards Shine as we see Axe trying to lay a trap.
And that's why you can't gank anything. What do you do? Martin's just like, I know you're there. Stop it.
You know, just going to peek by with the hawk shot, but this does allow Axis to actually realize, hey, you know what? We have control of this river now. We can go for this Infernal Dragon.
And I don't think Insurgents should do anything about this. Again, if they're playing this one smart, Shine won the first 3 minutes of that top lane trade. Forced Polar to use his teleport very early to get back into lane. Through that, you would turn that into a 4-on-5 very quick. And that's something Insurgent don't want to take this early on. Just give away the first Infernal Dragon, go back to this prolonged laning phase, and try and find a different opportunity to try and take it to them.
Yeah, because this window here where you said there was a teleport advantage, it is starting to close. We got about a minute and a half until that'll be back up there for Polar, as Shine did actually take the time to go up to top lane by walking. Ooh. We do see Caspiel here maybe looking for the ultimate on Martin.
Chili's not level 6, so he can't be the one that goes in here, but they do go towards him.
There it is. Engage comes out into the knockup. They get themselves the feathers, and that's going to be it. First blood going on over to Axis and possibly going for the tower dive. Little too gutsy, though, when, you know, you're a tanky cow.
That's some big damage on towards Chili from the ramped-up turret shots that were hitting Caspiel at the very start. Very nice setup coming out from Insurgents. They blow the hawk shot nice and early, so they know they can't spot him out. That's an angry cow. That's fine. That's an ignite.
Oh! Did force the flash out there, but here comes the rest of the team. VYYZ just a little too far forward, and the Sejuani is bloodthirsty with now 2 kills on the map.
Look, I like the angry cow coming in from VYYZ. Absolutely useless at that point in time. Chili is a very mobile champion who can simply dash away and get a big shield for himself. So trying to make a play, doesn't work out for them, and that's going to cost Insurgents a lot. Because you lose Martin, that's great. You lose a turret plating and 300 gold. You set yourself back 400 gold behind you, 1,000 gold behind Axis. Whoop-de-bloody-do. Doesn't matter too much 9 minutes into the game. But now you sacrifice VYYZ, that's even more gold going over towards the side of Axis. Caspiel's now ahead with 2 kills being picked up on Sejuani. He's going to be accelerated in terms of picking up his tanky items. So in these mid-game fights, when Sejuani initiates, bursting down, Sejuani is already so difficult. Bursting down Sejuani with 2 kills in the mid-game fights is going to be even harder with the items she picks up, and it makes it much harder for Insurgent to navigate these mid-game team fights.
And really for Insurgent, unfortunately, all they really could get there was Hopeless getting a couple of deep wards to apply some tracking there for Caspiel. Otherwise, though, it's been pretty much unanswered, and that wasn't even using that teleport from Shine here, who now has amassed a 35 CS lead up in this top lane. Polar does have that teleport available, but even then, you can see if he gets that sweet spot, decent chunk of damage.
Yeah, doesn't work out so well for Polar just yet, because every time he goes in for the trades, he gets Conqueror.
Boom, there it is. Third one's going to proc. Polar should not have to use the flash. There it is, though. Shine's going for it. Gets back underneath the tower. Shine, though, is going to finish him off. And after getting yourself a gold lead like that, you want to use it.
And this is why I'm very curious as to what Insurgent's plan was during the Champ Slot. Yes, Riven against even Riven, sure, level 9 or so, Riven can start to take it to him, but not when you're that far behind and all these plays being made. But Chili's been caught out.
Chili gets caught out. The quickness is available there for Hopeless, but the counter engage now coming out from Axis, and it turns it around. Caspiel picks up his 3rd kill of the game. They're able to take down Chili, but Blaze is still full health. Double kill. This Sejuani is just a murderous rampage on the Rift. It's going to be a triple hill for the jungle.
Caspiel's picked up 5 kills already. That's actually disgusting. I mean, very nice play coming out from Insurgents, but they couldn't catch him out.
There's Carino. Belby has to flash over the wall to safety, but on top of that, you're going to get yourself an extra turret plate. So far, so good here for Axis as they now sit 4,000 gold ahead.
Look at how calm and collected Axis are playing. And what I was talking about before is Insurgents set this up. They had counter pick against whatever Shine was going to throw into the top lane. They went with Riven, and that is not working for them. They threw a lot of resources into that, banning out 2 of his champions. If you count Vladimir and Akali, that's 4 of them. And then they can't control any other part of the map.
I see here a quick engage onto Jilly, but it's a great turnaround coming out from Caspiel.
I mean, Chili does come back in here, and you could say, oh, he's just sacrificed himself for an extra kill. Martin greets for it, but it does allow Caspiel to pick up these last 2 kills as well. Chili, I think, played that very well, using the stopwatch when he disengaged as well, so there was no realistic opportunity for Insurgents to gun him down. If they had done that, he would have been able to flash away. He would have been able to, you know, just tank some of that damage, and the same result would have happened, which is Axis pick up 3 kills in the bottom lane off the back of that. And now Zaya's accelerated, already has that Essence Reaver picked up. This game is going heavily in favor of Axis very quickly here, Opal.
Yeah, I'd say, the jungle's been getting 5 kills. You'd like to see a kill of that onto Blaze, but you know what? He's been part of 5 assists, so that kind of makes up for the goal he'd be missing out. And like you mentioned, already has accelerated his build ahead of this Ashe that's kind of doing the same thing, trying to get a little bit of that cooldown reduction to be more useful for the utility.
But Insurgents are not playing around any of the key abilities they have. They're not playing around Corki's package. They're not playing around Ashe's ultimate. I mean, Belby just got his first package. This should be the time where they say, you know what, we're done farming in the lane. It's 0-0. This is where we start to fight. They haven't been able to do that. So now Belby's got the package. That's just going to expire. There's no realistic objective for them to use it for. Belby's just using it to get back into lane. And it's further delaying Insurgent's chance of ever coming back into this game, just allowing Axis to take even more.
And you can see here now, Hopeless is starting to be forced out of his jungle as once again, Caspiel, he's got 5 kills. He's a pretty tanky Sejuani at this point. And first turret's going to also go over to Shine, who's now got almost a 50 CS advantage. That's probably close to a 1,500 to 2,000 gold lead.
And Axis just want to continue pressing for more. They're going to start with this Mountain Dragon. There's the package use, but gets nothing.
Package comes out. Arrow is going to connect on Caspiel, but you know what? That's the Sejuani. She's just melee, and that was a ugly ult to say the very least there, Hopeless. Tries to use it in response. There's Caspiel's, and now they turn around. 3-man knockup coming out from Chill. He's got none as Blaze presses on forward, and Shine joins in on the fight. That's going to be 4-0.
There is one word to describe what Insurgent tried to do there, and that's called desperation.
Oh, yeah.
They threw everything they could, which we said was their condition to win these fights. Corki package, Ashe arrow, Hopeless jumping in on top of that with the Sejuani ultimate. But That was the complete wrong time to do so, and the wrong targets with the wrong positioning on top of that. Insurgent could not get anything out of that if they tried for it. Really well played coming out from Axis, turning that one around. Seeing that Insurgent used absolutely everything, they said, you know what? This is a completely free fight. Shine's doing so well in the top lane. He can teleport into this one as well as an insurance policy. And now we're 8,000 gold ahead 15 minutes in.
Yeah, that last fight, it didn't look too pretty there for Insurgent. Especially, I hate to commend it, but Hopeless, there was a big whiff there on a Sejuani ultimate. And like you mentioned, once they saw that, instant engage, and now you have a Sejuani at 15 minutes, has a completed jungle item and a Warmongs.
And now for Axis, what they just need to do is play cool, calm, and collected. They have a big lead. We saw a 9,000 gold lead being thrown away yesterday. With bounties, with how League of Legends is being played at the moment, things can swing with one big pick. And Insurgents have the composition to make those big picks. Big damage from Corki, big damage from Ashe with a big arrow to try and lock people down. Alistair to follow up with crowd control. But this is not one of them. This is not how you play this. Hopeless, be careful.
Chili just goes in for a quick knock-up. That's going to force the flash out of the Sylas.
So Insurgent have the tool to catch out Axis if they overextend. So the onus is now on Axis to not do that. Play it cool, play it calm, play it collected, stick to the game plan. Make sure you're not wandering in alone into random parts of the map against Insurgent, and just slowly take down these structures. You've now got all the outer turrets. You're 16 minutes into the game. Axis can simply go, you know what? We're now just going to put wards down on your red side of the jungle for two reasons.
Yeah.
We're going to take all your Raptors. We're going to take all your red buffs. And when Baron spawns at 20 minutes, you're not going to be able to see anything past the river. And just continually farm with Shines for pushing the bottom lane, keep your AD carry in the mid lane, put Victor up top if you need to, and just farm. Don't push for inner turrets, don't push for anything, just control one side of the jungle, get small leads, you're already 10,000 gold ahead. A 10,000 gold lead will last till 30 minutes in the game. Play it slow, play it collective, wait for Baron to come up, and start getting Insurgents to make these rash decisions, like we saw at the Dragon Pit, and force fights over by Baron, and then Axis can try and swing the game completely in their favor and close it out.
Well, good news here for Polar. Was finally able to finish off the Black Cleaver. Fortunately, is a death stance behind Shine at this point in the matchup, and that's the thing too. We haven't really seen Shine during these team fights. He came at the very last second during that last one.
He doesn't need to, though.
Most of the time, we've been just seeing 4v5s.
He doesn't need to be in these fights. He's Aatrox with a 70 CS lead, first turret, and 2 kills. He doesn't need to be in these fights. He could just sit pretty in the bottom lane and say, you know what, if anyone comes and fights me, I will kill you all. The only time he needs to be careful is for the next 2.5 minutes. There's nothing for Axis to realistically take on the map besides a botched fight. So he just needs to sit calm against Riven, wait for Axis to continue farming, and wait for Baron to come up. And they're doing the right thing now. Chili's putting wards down inside the red side of the jungle. That way they could control the Raptor camp, pick up an extra 200 gold from that, control the red buff, that's an extra 100 gold from that, that's a kill every 3 or 4 minutes that they can get from just jungle gold, and then set up for Baron later on, continue chipping away at this turret.
We'll see here. Hopeless does have the Sejuani ultimate available. They're going to land it right onto Chili. They use everything, and they do take down the support. And you mentioned maybe botched fights are what's going to cost Axis here, but a nice double snare, and now here comes Shine over toward the side from bot lane on the Aatrox. The Victor over, and Shine just puts them into the ground. And just like that, Axis, it looks like they're caught out, but they say, hey, we also have a Rift Herald. You're about to lose an inhibitor.
Yeah, inhibitor's going to go down here. That was very nice from Insurgent, I'm going to say. Axis had no business pushing for that inner turret. Great Ashe arrow, follow-up, kill Chili. But that's where it stops. That's where Axis should have decided we got the most out of that play possible. We got some gold back. We stopped Axis from pushing any further forward. We should disengage. That's not what happened. They continued trying to bite off more than they could chew, and it allowed Axis to swing the fight back in their favor because they've got the flanking Victor, because Shine's an absolute monster on Evil Riven right now, because they are ahead. And we see this a lot from the teams in the LST. You get an objective, you push for so much more, and that's what Belby's trying to do here.
Trying to make a play. Caspel is going to be happy, though. He's still pretty tanky. Like we mentioned, the Warmongs was immediately rushed at this point. So he's going to be able to be just fine. Going to go back to base. Shine continues the pressure down in that bot lane, splitting away as the mid lane inhibitor was opened up by Axis. And like you mentioned, if you take a look as far as the wards go for here on the side of Insurgent, it's pretty dark. It's scary. It's spooky in that jungle.
Difficult for Insurgent right now. 11,000 gold behind at 19 minutes. Tough spot to fight their way out of. They had the right idea. Get picks. Find people who are just rotating around or pushing for turrets they shouldn't be taking. Take those down. At this point, realistically, Insurgents are looking for a mistake. Looking for a mistake coming out from Axis. And they made one. Pushing for the inner turret there was a mistake. They should have dropped Rift Herald. Holding on to it was a bit greedy coming out from Caspiel. Does pay off at the very end. But they killed Chili. That would have been 3 minutes of free farming for you. You can take back all the wards in the red side of your jungle. But now, Baron's free to be taken. Insurgent can't force a fight here. There's no way they can ever get towards Axe. Maybe throw out an arrow, hope for a steal, throw Silas in the pit, hope for a steal. Not going to happen.
Here comes Hopeless. Over the side, though, gets denied. It's going to be a 3-man knock-up. Cal, though, is left to go into the slaughter. Caspiel gets put over toward the side, but Shine now has joined in, and Polar in the middle, unfortunately, can't eliminate Chili. Caspiel just jumps over toward Martin. A double kill for Shine, flashing over the wall with the Victor. It's a triple kill on this Aatrox. And with the minions in mid lane, 3 members strong, and the ace coming through, Axis should be able to take game 1.
Look, the micro mechanics aside of Alistar being punted over the Baron wall on top of your carries, that was a mistake. You go for the steal, you hope for the best, you hope it's going to delay the game a little bit longer, but that's all you could realistically do there. They bit off again, a bit more than they could chew. Axis punish heavily for an 18-2 game.
21.5 minutes. That's going to be the record there, as it's going to be game 1 going in favor of Axis. After, honestly, like for C-Tour, like that first 5 to 7 minutes was pretty calm.
Yeah, and I thought, Insurgents were going to try and play off of that. Again, they had the right idea of Baron Pit. They had the Ash Arrow. They had the package. That's where, Dragon Pit. That's where you force these fights against Insurgent. Hope that you try to pick one player off, but it just was a slow crumble. Shine was in too good of a matchup for him. Aatrox was able to take down Riven quite easily in that top lane, making it so they already had a disadvantageous side of the map. And then the bottom half were just like, we'll just punish that. We'll just take these fights. We'll just push for even more objectives in the early game, get a nice lead for ourselves. And Insurgents just couldn't use any of their win conditions in this match. But Axis played that beautifully.
Yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick look here at one of our last team fights that really secured the deal here for Axis. This is actually the first Dragon fight where it got really ugly.
I'm quite sad we didn't see the beginning of that, because that was a really big play from Chili. That was very nice coming out from Axis, but the beginning of this fight was Belby valking in with his package, Martin throwing out an arrow into Sejuani, and Insurgent going, we can win this, guys! No, you can't. No, that's not how this works.
Well, especially, too, because Hopeless actually missed the Sejuani ultimate point blank that he stole away. And that really ended up costing them, because without that additional CC, well, guess what? Axis is just free to move, and that damage.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Riven did less damage than Alistar.
That's a yikes.
Oh, that's a no from me, fam.
You take a look here. It was 2-18 as far as the kills went. 7 turrets. Like, honestly, Axis were pretty close to a perfect game, and our MVP to start things off here in game 1, it's going to go over to Caspiel.
It's so difficult to decide who you give the MVP here to. I think Caspiel is a good choice. 6-0-10. I mean, played that really well. 88%.
Had a triple kill.
89% kill participation spell. But who do you give it to? Do you give it to Shine for completely opening top side of the map and saying, you know what, you guys just do bot. You guys just do bot, I'm fine top lane, which opened up a huge hole in the defense of Insurgent. I mean, I would have given it to Shine. And then I would have chose Chili afterwards, because he did set up a lot of the plays for Caspiel. I mean, that big team fight was great to watch as well. Really good mechanical plays coming up from Chili. But Caspiel, well, all round, played very well all round. I can't do words. Words suck.
Well, I think the big one for me was during this game, I truly didn't feel like Hopeless was ever on the map. I felt like there wasn't really an impact being made there when it came to the jungle. So I think that's what really was allowing Caspiel to shine, was in comparison. It felt like he was just absolutely dominating. Yeah. But I don't think there was much of a competition for him.
But fair play. I think Caspiel had a really good match there. Axis in general just played that beautifully. In comparison to the Fiestas we had yesterday, that was a very, very staple League of Legends match.
Yeah.
Staple and stable at the same time. And we don't get that very often in the LST.
I'm about to say, what has happened with the teams? We're going to go ahead, though, and take a short break. When we come back, it's going to be game 2 of our first set.